The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has disclosed that 188 incidents of oil theft were recorded in the past week. It was learnt that 89 illegal refineries were located and dismantled in 1 week. 188 oil theft cases were recorded in 1 week. According to NNPC, several illegal connections were uncovered during the week in Bayelsa, Abia, and Rivers State. NNPC disclosed that illegal storage sites resembling pond-like reservoirs were discovered in Abia. At the same time, crude oil spills occurred in Abia, Rivers, and Bayelsa as a result of illegal connections. It was added that a boat carrying metals from vandalized oil well heads were intercepted in Rivers State. So what does oil theft have in common with the ongoing fuel crisis, which was triggered by government's decision to raise prices? Ijaw youth leader Theophilus Alaye now joins us on Newsday to discuss this. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So is there any correlation, between the fuel scarcity we are currently experiencing now and, of course, the hike in fuel prices and oil theft in the Niger Delta? What are your thoughts?
Basically, as someone that comes from the oil-rich Niger Delta and someone that happens to be the president of the largest ethnic youth organization, we understand that oil theft has its own impact on the economy of the country, but price increase, pump price increase and oil theft does not have any correlation. Because if you look at it critically, when this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, on the first day of his swearing, he made a categorical statement that subsidy is a thing of the past. And that means basically they have deregulated the sector. And as such, at that time when this statement were made, some of us were worried and our concerns were suppressed because we foresee a circumstances where if the government does not put the infrastructure that will cushion up the effect of the removals of subsidy, the impact that it will have on the masses. And today, that is what we are facing as a people. When a president of a nation like Nigeria make a pronouncement that subsidy has been removed, and you haven't put in the machineries that will reduce the impact of the subsidy removal, then you are not really putting the people that you are leading at topmost priority. Why am I saying so? Subsidy removal is one thing. As a nation that is producer of the crude, our ability to have the benefit of what we are producing is one other thing that is very, very important. But today, the federal government and all our state governors have decided to see the benefit they will get from exporting the crude than the living standard that the crude we are producing will have for the ordinary Nigerians. As a president that has removed subsidy from the first day of your assumption of office, I was believing that within 6 months, there will be a marching order that all our refineries that is owned by the federal government will be functional and running within 6 months of his resumption into office. But believe you me, this is 1 year and running. Even the Port Harcourt refinery that they told us that will be up and running for the past 1 year is still not functioning. And what makes you think that if the petroleum market, the petroleum industry, the petroleum market that is being managed by the dollar or in the international market is what we will use as a yardstick to regulate our pump price? Definitely, if crude price increases globally, petrol price that we are importing will definitely increase. That means you are deliberately trying to inflict poverty, suffering into the common Nigeria. And we as a people, as an Asian man, we don't celebrate failure. We don't celebrate mediocrity. We don't celebrate those that have failed because you are our own, we will save you. No. A certain president is the person that is leading the affairs of Nigeria today. And in the NNPC, the GMD of NNPC, Mele Kyari, has failed us. Telling Nigerians that in 2 months' time, the Port Harcourt refinery is going to be up and running, production is going to come out. In next 2 months, all these fake stories that these people are telling us, and Mr. President is comfortably sitting down there. What about the Minister of Petroleum? Our own son. Going around everywhere, tomorrow, Port Harcourt refinery, maintenance, everything has come to play. We are going to do production. And Mr. President is seeing that failure is coming from the oil and gas sector.
Very good.
I was expecting that if he is not taking, if he's not complicit of what Mele Kyari is doing and what the petroleum minister is doing, by now we are expecting that some person
if I may interject. Yes, thank you. If I may interject, please, on some other narratives, still talking about the oil thefts specifics here. Government Tompolo's outfit tasked with protecting the pipelines and other oil facilities. Would you say it has, to a large extent, reduced oil theft and bunkerings, and of course, vandalization, as it were? So I'd like your thoughts on that as well.
Yes, if you talk about oil theft in the Niger Delta, before the end of the past administration, the Nigeria NNPC and the Ministry of Petroleum came up with a template that, look, the people of the Niger Delta, where these facilities are domiciled, ought to be given the privilege and the opportunity to guide these facilities. And to our greatest happiness, our own son, Tompolo, Government Tompolo, was given the responsibility, which is the sanitary security, to safeguard the pipeline infrastructure that are domiciled in the Niger Delta. And from that time till date, we understand and we know how well that has increased the production of the crude oil that we are talking about. Before that contract was given, we are aware that production was below 800 to 1 million barrels per day. But as we speak, production has increased to 1.4, 1.5 million. But before this time, production, at least Nigeria, we have recorded 2.4 million, 2 million barrels per day. What we are saying is that the NNPC and the Petroleum Ministry need to put in more effort, engage more communities, more youth leaders, more ex-agitators that understand the environment, so that we will see that there will be more production for even our local refineries to have product. Today, as you can see, the reason why the Dangote refineries is finding it very difficult to get is 65,000 barrels per day, the 650,000 barrels per day for its refinery activity is because the NNPC and the Nigerian government is more concerned about exporting the crude to run their administration than giving Dangote refinery the needed 650,000 barrels that will benefit Nigeria and reduce the suffering level of our people. As a Niger Delta person, as someone that is from the crook, I can tell you for free that in our communities, we buy petrol liter for above 3,000 naira for a single petrol liter. And cost of transportation and everything is over 300% increase. So what we are saying is that the sector, the NNPC has failed in its mandate, which is our own limited company. Those that are managing the affairs of the petroleum and gas industry has failed us.
All right,
if Mr. President
Lai, if I may interject again, please, yes, as a follow-up to what you're just saying, I'm glad you brought up the issue of other communities, because there were grumblings that the pipeline contract should have been extended to where those pipes actually pass through, those communities, not just been handed to one private firm alone. I'd like your thoughts on that. Is everyone in, resonating with this idea that, okay, fine, Tompolo is the only one handling, the issue of security regarding the pipelines, as it were. But what about all the communities in those regions where they actually pass through? There's been, talks about people not being comfortable with that idea over time. I'd like your thoughts on that.
Thank you. That is another issue that's an internal issue within the Niger Delta that I believe we are looking for a way to come with a better blueprint and template that everybody will be engaged. This is not the first time a surveillance contract of this magnitude has been given to the Niger Delta. Under the Goodluck administration, we are aware that the Pajero contract was given in similar manner. But in that particular one, people from the region, from their various area of control, were incorporated into the project, and that is why you see that at that particular point in time, there were no forms of clamor. But we also understand the worries of the NNPC at the point this contract was given. We understand that there was no rallying point, and the only figurehead at that time the NNPC could have identified was Tompolo, and that's why the contract was given to Tompolo. Notwithstanding, as a people, there must be internal wranglings, and that is why we see that when some peoples were complaining that the contract should be split among, that at least is a better template. But that does not necessarily mean that this particular one that is before Tompolo is not yielding result. It's yielding result, but more hands are needed, because a contract of this sensitivity, this sensitivity in a sensitive nature like this, you don't just put it in the hand of one particular individual and some group of people will decide to play politics with it. What we want as a people is a Niger Delta that is productive, is a Niger Delta that is developing, is a Niger Delta that at least we can boast that because this is the oil-rich region and that is why we are having 24 hours light. This is the gas-rich region, that is why we are having 48 hours light. And not the one where the federal government and some group of players within the oil and gas sector will decide to bring in the divide and rule approach to our people. We have gone beyond that level, and that is why you see that this Tantita security-related matter, we are handling it with all form of maturity.
Now,
we are getting the results that the Tantita ought to give to us, but is that enough for us?
Allow me to interrupt you.
So we want more hands.
Now, talking about the issue of playing politics, you know, there are reports of alleged military, or shall I say elite collaboration with oil thieves in the Niger Delta region. What has been done about this, or what should be done about this?
We understand very well that in the oil and gas industry, you see that the players are just the NNPC, the IOCs, and the federal government. The state governors and its parastatals or agency has little role on how these things are being done. And that is why we always say that the federal government, the NNPC, and the state governors need to come to collaboration. Let them collaborate so that the governors can, the states can also be critical stakeholders and players in the industry. By so doing, you will see that every state will be given the mandate to secure those facilities that are within their environment. But when you see people that does not even understand the Niger Delta environment, how diversified we are, and how internally divided we are, will stay in NNPC and decide to award a contract of such importance to one group of people and leaving others behind, you are trying to put more problem. We understand the oil theft politics or the oil business that is in the Niger Delta, the security are not left out. Because in every major river to the Atlantic Ocean, there are Navy boats, checkpoints, and everything are located or well stationed. So how are these people escaping all those checkpoints and going out with the crude
Indeed.
They are still in question?
Very good. Indeed.
So there are some form of collaboration between the security agencies and those that are carrying out the crude oil theft. That is just the simple truth.
All right, indeed. Good question there. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time. Theophilus Alai, Ijaw Youth Leader, many thanks for your thoughts on the oil theft and the fuel price increase issues. Current narratives getting much attention. Would like to thank you for that.